We talk to players around this time a lot about the emotions and everything. What is this time like for a coach? Just with the bittersweet in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I wish we were 10 points in the playoffs, and it's a little different animal, and I've kind of been on both sides of that, and but that is what it is. You develop relationships with players. In this case, actually, all three guys that we've traded, they're all guys that I thought are great dudes. People I really enjoyed being around. People that I think helped me to be a better coach. You just learn from guys. Really enjoyed my time with all of them. So it's disappointing that you can't continue to hang together and keep growing together. And they were all real committed to the growth of this group. With that said, certainly happy for them to get the opportunity, especially especially in Murph and Dickey's case, just because the age at which they're at, you don't know how many opportunities you get for this. And they get an opportunity to go play for a team that's gone to back-to-back finals, and I also think they're excellent fits for the roles they're bringing into.
Is it hard to focus on a game the day of the deadline?
Well, at the end of the day, it can't be. I mean, I think part of what we have to do is compartmentalize emotions when you're a coach, an athlete, anybody, I guess, in any work that you have. If you want to do your best, there's always stuff going on that isn't directly relevant to the task at hand. You got to find a way to just focus on the task at hand. I was in Detroit and we played Carolina, I remember. We traded Anthony Mantha that day. It was a hard trade for a lot of guys, but we went out and played a great game. It's not that you're not capable of doing that, and we can't use it as a crutch. Everybody's kind of going through the same boat.
It's one thing to lose their ability on the ice and their leadership in the room, but these are just like grown-ups with real life experience that a young team is losing. How does that affect the young guys?
Yeah, that's true, and they are just they're guys who. Have lived in the shoes of the young guys coming. So they've been great. They've been great to have around. They've been great role models. I think it was something that I talked about was really important. The good thing for us is we've had them around now for a good period of time. So the young guys in the room, depending on how many years they've been here, I've had a chance to see the models that they are and what type of pros they are and what they do off the ice, and maybe ask them about how to get a checking account and all those kind of things that you got to figure out. And they've been available for those guys, and so I think it's just part of it, and hopefully I'm sure they've had positive impacts in each one of our young guys' lives.
Do you expect some of those young guys to now take on a little bit more leadership, or do you see some of that happening already?
Well, I think when you lose guys who are in leadership roles and guys that are good players and what they bring to the table, there's voids, and those voids have to ultimately be filled. And I'm confident we have guys that can fill those types of voids, and and that includes leadership. And I won't get into specific this guy or that guy, but I just think everybody. Within their own personality, it gets in, potentially thrust in a role where they have the opportunity to lead a bit more. And, it's hard to, you're not going to necessarily always show that leadership when somebody else is doing it. And now when maybe, we still have great leaders in the veterans that we have as we sit here today, but some of those guys are gone and some other guys got to fill the role.
Have you decided who will wear the other A that Jason vacated?
Yeah, no, I have not. I'm not necessarily in a rush. I think those are, really important decisions, and it was easy for me with Connor because we had already gone through that process earlier in the year, and I put it on him for a period of time when I knew Fliggy was going to be out for an extended period of time. So, just going through the process right now and kind of deciding what's the best for our group this year and probably moving into the future.
Who's involved in that process? Just you?
No, I would never. I take information from as many people as I can talk to about it, and just kind of get as much information as I can from staff and everybody around, and just see what the thoughts are, and then ultimately, certainly myself in concert with Kyle make those decisions. Those are a lot of times organizational decisions too. They're not just about the team, and so certainly Kyle and I discuss all those at the end, but taking in information from other people as well.
Has there been any discussions on Mangiapane's role as he comes here?
Well, first off, he gets an opportunity to have a clean slate here, and he's been a good player in this league. He'll get an opportunity to be a good player here, and he's what and to sit here and say that I know him in and out, I don't think you ever do until you really coach somebody. And that's the same thing I told every guy that was in that room at the beginning of the year. But what I've known about him is he's been a guy who's got kind of that really, really good work ethic and speed, so he's kind of a dog in a bone. I think that fits into how we want to play. And he's got that with some offensive touch, and so that fits into how we want to play. Where he slots in with which line, we'll see as we go. I don't know for sure if he's available tomorrow or not. Just working through. He'll be in town, but you just got to work through the immigration stuff, so I'm not sure on that yet.
You'll officially have to get called up, right?
Yeah, you'll have to talk to Kyle on that. So I'm not the best rule guy for that.
Is Kaiser tracking for tomorrow?
Kaiser's tracking for tomorrow, unless there was a setback today that I don't know about. I expect him to play tomorrow.
And I saw Teravainen leave a little bit. Is he okay? Or?
Well, he's got a he should be okay, but he's working through something that he's probably wondering why he didn't have the day off.
Might he be forced to go 11-7 with the way things have gone?
We'll see on that tomorrow. Some of that will depend on Andrew's eligibility and not eligibility, but if he's got cleared through customs, ready to play or not. So yeah, we'll see on that. We'll see where Teravainen's at, all those things.
Guys maybe get a playoff shot, but still, some guys that were good guys in here and teammates.
Well, debated. No, I think that's exactly the word to use in this situation because, for a guy like Murph, it is bittersweet because you love him and what he's meant to this organization and this city and how he's come in and just been a real great ambassador for the Blackhawks through probably a tough time and tough transition, and he's always kept his head up and led the right way. And so to see him get an opportunity with a really good team is gratifying for us all. And then you see what Jason Dickinson's meant to this group, and that was a tough guy to lose, just with the way he's connected with every guy and how much he matters, the way he led, what the minutes that he ate that were hard minutes and not so fun times here. You're thrilled for a guy like him too that gets a chance to really slot into an area that really makes a lot of sense when you look at it. And then Docker, young player that gets an opportunity to go to a really good team and find his game. And this is the tough part of the season, right? When you get down to it, where you're not in, these are the emotions and feelings you have where you lose some really good people, and you don't want to be in this spot too many times. And I think that's probably the message that's been heard the loudest the past few days here from the group. I think they're getting tired of being in this spot, so hopefully it's a motivating factor for years to come.
Connor gets the A for the rest of this season and everything, and you've had a front row seat to kind of watch him grow. And what's it been like to just watch him continually grow into a leadership role, and now with a letter to boot?
Yeah, I think you're just seeing the maturation of a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, soon to be 21-year-old, and the weight that he's carried already at a young age and how he seemed to have been able to handle that, and especially this year, I think he's just really comfortable in who he is and what he means to this team and on and off the ice. So I think it's a no-brainer in all our eyes for how he's led us and what he does on a nightly basis and daily basis in here. So it's exciting for him to get that opportunity, and it's going to be part of who he is. I mean, he's a leader of this team. He's going to be a guy that this franchise stands on for a long time. So it's exciting that his journey has started. And, it'll be neat to see who else rises to the challenge of leadership in here. And hopefully myself, Murph, and Dickie didn't screw it up too bad and can make sure we hand it off to the right people.
I walked up late, but have you gotten any information on your status? Like, what did they?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, obviously nothing's changed. Kyle and I have talked, and we're going through that process. I'm as of right now with Chicago Blackhawks, so I'm fully invested in what we're doing, but have obviously had that honest conversation, and we'll see where it goes.
What is the emotions like that when you have those conversations and the deadline's still a day away and you're just kind of waiting?
It's tough, actually. Yeah, it's tough. I made it no surprise how much I care about this group, and especially as a guy who's led this group for a few years. It's you feel weird when you have those hard conversations, but it's the reality of where we're sitting, right? And when you have expiring contracts or the age I'm at, or there's always a personal thing that you go through too, right? Where you want to still compete and battle and win, and so that's the fight that you have, right? I believe in this group so much, and it's been an absolute honor to be the captain here. So I'm still fully committed to that until told otherwise. But there's a competitor inside you too that wants to be playing meaningful games.
Is it tougher to deal with a deadline when you've got a game like 5 hours later?
Yeah, I always thought that was stupid, personally. I just think it's such a distraction for everybody because regardless, you're watching it, no matter even if you're on the block or not. And I just think it's a weird day, and I don't know why the league hasn't decided just to make it a practice day for everybody. I think it would help a lot of the teams travel, and so I think it's a stupid thing that we play. You know, even for fans, there are guys that make plans to have family. You know, there's just so much that goes into that game. And unforeseen circumstances. So yeah, it's a weird day. I mean, it's part of being a pro, but I don't know why it has to be a game on that day, and just make it a certain day every year and go with it. You know.
Obviously, a lot can't happen in the next 24 hours. What's one thing you hope to have instilled on this time here?
Still too early for me to reflect on that. Honestly, I'm still going through it. Right, so. But you know, I think the one thing is just how much I care about this group. I think that's something that's probably even surprised me a little bit in the short time about how much I've enjoyed being a Chicago Blackhawk and being here with this team and seeing the growth and the maturation of a lot of guys and where we're trying to get to. And I think it's a lot of that give a lot of credit to the players that are here, but also the coaching staff that stepped in this year and done a hell of a job in getting us going in the right direction. So it's something I'll look on and probably have a better answer for you later on, but. Right now, I'm just trying to worry about tomorrow's game.
You kind of alluded to this earlier, but do you sense that there's a frustration in being in this position again, where you guys are selling again?
Yeah.
Instead of welcoming people into the building, you are saying goodbye to friends of yours.
Big time, and I think because it hits home, especially with the guys that we lost this year, right? Not to be rude, but over the past few years, I think we were trying to sort out who wants to be here, and now it's every guy that really does want to be here and make a difference, but. The reality is there's other teams that really want these players, and this is what happens when you're not put in a position that the organization has to make hard decisions, and guys have to also make decisions for their careers, right? So it's the realization that if you're winning, if you're in the dance, you're adding, you're excited, the emotions are high because you're looking to add and strengthen your group as opposed to losing some really good people that mattered and have mattered for a long time. So this is that 1 year where I think it's a wake-up call to a lot of guys in here how this has got to get turned around quick, and we got to be in a position where we're 10 points in next year and how much more fun and exciting the group is because of that.
Obviously, you're losing some on-ice talent, you're losing leadership, but you're losing just life experience, like grown-ups with life experience. Yeah. What does that mean for a young team that, they're going to be kind of on their own pretty soon?
Yeah, well, I would not take any advice from anyone in here anymore. The biggest thing I would say. There's slim pickings of guys I'm going to ask for some life advice. No, it's tough. Like, listen, these are two of my really good friends. Docker, great kid, got to know him really well. Had him up in my house in the summer. Like, these are guys you care a lot of, right? And this group cares a lot about. Not just myself. Like, they've ingrained themselves, and they're guys that if you ask any player in here, they look to every time they come in the room. They're excited to see their face. And it's weird to have them not in this room right now, right? For myself and I've been doing this for 20 years, so it's a tough feeling. You miss, because especially the battles that we've gone through the past couple of years, those guys were a big part of myself leaning on a lot of those guys, and especially the guys in this room looking to them for answers, and they've been like big brothers to those guys. So it's tough to see, and but it's the reality, and I think I've had it in my career where you wonder what's it gonna be like to lose this guy, and then you realize, well, there's more that I can give, right? And I think that's the message that these guys have to understand, is we as a group have to understand that there's more of yourself to give. These guys were once in your position and had to figure out how to be good pros, how to be the guys that people look to. And so that's the journey that these guys are going to go on now, and it should be exciting for them to know that they're thought of in that regard, and they're here to make the difference of being the team that Chicago Blackhawks expect to be.
Years, just as far as saying goodbye to teammates and everything, and just how tough is it every year to say goodbye to guys that you've been out there with?
Yeah, that was yesterday was really tough. Like Dickie, I've been with the whole time. He's kind of like an older brother to me, and someone I spent a lot of time with, and so it sucks, and it's part of what we do, but it sucks, and Docker as well, someone that 2 weeks ago, him and Greener were on vacation talking about after we win the cup, we're gonna go back and stuff like that. So it's hard, and obviously Murph was a couple days. I feel like I talked about that already, but it sucks for sure.
With you getting in for the rest of the season, just what does that mean to you? I mean, at some point maybe it leads to more to see at some point, but just to have that letter.
End of the day, it doesn't change anything I'm going to do as a person, as a player. But obviously, it's a good honor to be recognized with that, and I've been able to learn from a lot of great guys in the last 3 years, and I feel like I've grown a lot in a lot of ways. So, I'm obviously happy about that, and I want to keep getting better on the ice, off the ice, and in those ways.
How comfortable are you in a leadership role?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to change anything about who I am. So, I'm just going to be myself, and obviously, I feel like, I do things that have those qualities. So just keep being me, kind of.
Did you draw Ferris wheel and
No, I'm I'm good at one thing, and it's my job, so I'm lucky.
Is there any uneasiness in the room you feel with the deadline still tomorrow and still potentially more changes?
I don't know about uneasy. I think I personally don't think I'm getting belts, so there's different things for each person, but like I talked about, it's a family, and these are guys you're with every single day, so you're just maybe a little nerves that guys are going to get moved, but like I said, it's part of it, and that's motivating. That this is the last year that we're in a spot where we're moving guys that help us. We move a lot of guys that help us win games, so that's a shitty feeling, but just try to not let that happen.
How about you?
Yeah, same for me. It's definitely pretty weird, but obviously a great honor and cool opportunity for me to be here with everything that this organization's been through since I've been here. So I'm really grateful for my experience here and looking forward to the future.
Dickinson and Murphy are obviously two guys who had a big presence in this room, and guys that you guys looked up to. How does the dynamic change as this team gets considerably younger?
We're definitely going to have to, guys are going to have to fill some roles. We're going to have to, figure out who's going to step up and, whether that's being more vocal or just, even, the way that Dickie and Murph played the game, both very honorable, and the way that they played was a way to set the tone and be a leader. So we're going to need some guys to step up and do that. I consider myself one of those guys that can potentially do that. So I think it's going to be a contribution from everybody in the locker room.
When you're part of a rebuilding team, how does the trade deadline time hit in here? Does it feel a little bit uneasy, like the unknown of still a couple of more hours to go? Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's kind of scary. You don't want to lose any of your good buddies. You don't want to get traded yourself. So you're obviously, the way that I figure out stuff is just checking Instagram. So the last couple of days, I've just kind of been constantly refreshing my page, making sure I'm not missing out. And it's definitely pretty nerve-wracking to kind of not really know what could happen. You have a group of brothers in here, and all of a sudden that can kind of just be completely, separated. So it's it is scary.
Is there frustration? This is a couple years in a row you guys have been sellers this time of year where you had to go through this process of watching friends of yours go out the door. So is that frustrating on some level? Is that something where you're like, gosh, I can't wait to get to maybe the other side of this, where maybe you're welcoming guys instead of saying goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I think, we all kind of knew that this was part of the plan going forward. And if anything, it like I kind of said earlier, it is a little bit more sad just to kind of lose some of your buddies potentially. But yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about it as a team. We want to become a team where we're not losing anybody. We're keeping the guys that we have in here because everybody's contributing and, pushing that effort to make playoffs and potentially being a contender. So over the next couple of years, we hope to be, like you said, somebody that's, a team that's not selling and that, potentially we could be buying and adding to our great group in here.
Are you getting the A?
I have no idea.
Damn. Don't play aside?
No. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I would be grateful and honored, but we'll see.